So the Edmonton real estate market is warming up. It's hot. Some areas are hotter than others. The province is crazy in terms of what's going on in the real estate world, while the rest of Canada struggles. I'm joined today by Calvin Hexter. We're talking real estate, Calvin, as well as the upcoming Real Estate Investor Conference, September 20th, I think it is, 2021.
21, 22nd, yeah.
21, 22 in Edmonton. And so let's talk about the conference a little bit. Why don't you give us an idea of what the lineup is? And then I want to talk about why people need to be there.
Yes. So first of all, we created this conference because we felt like there was a bit of a void. There was a void in how events have been done recently. And there was a void on having, I would say, like accurate, trustworthy information presented by trustworthy individuals in the market. And so we created this conference because, coming from an investor myself, I'm like, what do I feel like I need? And so maybe I'm just selfish, Patrick. Maybe I'm just creating this conference because I feel like there's this void and this is what I need right now as an investor. But, ultimately, I think it's going to benefit a lot of people as well. And our lineup is absolutely exceptional. And I'm not just saying that because we're hosting the event. Yeah. These are all genuinely great people that will help benefit you in your real estate journey wherever you are.
Okay, well, let's do a little bit of name dropping besides myself and my amazing wife, Stephanie, who will be there as well. We've got Alfonso Quadro. We've got Tim. I've just lost him. Yeah. Wayne Hillier is going to be there. Give us some other names.
Yeah, we got Michael Ponte. He'll be present as well. And then we have some local experts. We have Shane Unruh. You can actually learn from him. I just found out he's younger than I am. He's 32 and he's like 70 million in assets within 4 years. And we're not saying that. I don't like to compare doors or compare that, but he's doing it in a very classy way without over leveraging himself. And I'm really excited for you to learn his story. And I wouldn't put someone on stage that just has a million doors that, interest rates go up. Now their house of cards crumbles. He really has an interesting story and a really interesting business model. So he'll be up there speaking as well. We have Zoria Boulanger. She is an expert in the multifamily space. She just did she talked about the MLI Select program a month and a half ago. And her online webinar was like 350 people. Mm-hmm. It was insane. Anyway, she's going to be present. We have Sam Lee talking about the reality of property management and tenant acquisition in this market, as well as Garnet Correa. He runs one of the largest property management groups in the area. Keaton Kirkwood. Most of you know Keaton. He's in Vancouver with our friend Kyle Green and has now been in Alberta on a farm. So
he's crushing it. Mortgage broker extraordinaire. Yeah.
You want to have an intellectual conversation about real estate. That is the guy. He will sit down with you and it'll be a marathon conversation about so many things. We actually had to talk about changing his window because he has so much valuable information. He's like, Calvin, I just don't have enough time. And I'm like, well, we just don't have enough time in the we got to dial what you have to offer back. Anyways, he's fantastic. We have so many great people. And the best part about everybody is they're not going in with the intention to sell. Naturally, that's going to be a byproduct because everybody has their different coaching programs, organizations. The intention is value first.
Yeah.
And that's the best type of conference where you can take information, actionable things you can write down in your notepad and you can take and it'll help you in your investment journey. And the other
I'm excited about, being at the event. I'm excited about the event because it's going to give people the opportunity to kind of re-engage after summer. We're coming to the end of summer. You start to smell fall in the air. And as we get into September, I always look at September as a kind of a new year. But let's just talk about a couple things. First and foremost, when we look at what's happening economically, Calvin, there is nothing but bad news headlines out there, short of perhaps what's happening specifically in the Alberta real estate market. But even the Alberta real estate market is a little bit of, I don't know if it's kind of doom and gloom in some aspects of what they're talking about in real estate when we look across the country. But here's the thing that I want to emphasize. The event, number one, is really within an affordable price point, number one. Number two is that as we go through real estate cycles, they shift and they change. And where people go, or where they step over some of the fundamentals, is that now is the time to sharpen your saw. You may think the real estate is bad, it's going to crash, it's going to come to an end, the bubble's going to burst. Whatever story you have about it is irrelevant relative to the point that this too shall pass. Whatever story you've got going on, now's the time to educate, to network, to surround yourself with the right people. Whether you pull a trigger on a deal even in 2024 is irrelevant. You need to start and make sure that you're paying attention from an education point of view, from an economy point of view, from what is happening in the trends point of view. There's so many things to learn. So I strongly encourage people that real estate is a store of value that, aside from things like Bitcoin, aside from things like precious metals, or perhaps even, the stock market, it's a hard asset. And real estate is where you need to consider putting cash for the long term, given what's happening economically. So a little bit of a long kind of comment, but ultimately getting to this event opens up the door of understanding what's really going on in the real estate market, as opposed to the headlines that so many make decisions from. Let's look behind the headlines. And that's one of the things that I'll be presenting.
Absolutely. I'm really excited to, we got you on 2 days too. So we don't just got Patrick on 1 day, we get 2 days. And the second day is going to be more of a specialized approach in a breakout room. So the best part is that day one, we're going to have a bunch of keynotes. We're going to have a couple panelists. And then day two is really going to help you define your tribe. You're going to be put in a breakout or 2 different breakouts, really fitting the, what is the focus of your investment journey? And it's going to help you gain clarity. I've also asked other presenters, we're not adding any fluff to any of the presentation. It's going to be raw data. We are going to show you what's working right now, what's not working. If you don't leave that conference with a sense of community and direction in your investment journey, we didn't do our job. And that is our number one focus.
Mm-hmm. And on top of it, back to the affordability of this particular conference, it's a couple of days. You've given us and others some discount codes in terms of, if you register REICon, I'm going to put some links in this description, which I didn't do before we went live. I'll get the team, or I'll get them in there. Either way, we'll make sure that the links are there for you to click on and to get registered to attend the event. When we look at what's happening in Edmonton, again, we talk about Alberta overall being a very strong economy relative to what's happening across the country. How do you see the real estate market in Edmonton, by the way, Kelvin? Do you see investment opportunities? Is there cash flow opportunities? Is there motivated vendors? How are you seeing the market these days?
When you ask that, it's funny when I compare it to other provinces. And just put it this way. So we have a real estate team. We work with clients all across the nation. And we had a couple of our professional partners, other realtors in other cities, reach out to me and say, Calvin, you haven't sent me a referral in a while, but I'm sure sending you a lot. And these are referral partners in Toronto, Ottawa, Montreal, Vancouver. Those are the biggest hubs that we see a lot of attention. And I'm like, nobody wants to go out of Alberta. I'm not saying nobody, but I can tell you there's probably a 50-to-1 ratio of referrals that are coming inbound to Alberta to purchase for either relocation or investment purposes. And there's maybe the 1 out of every 50 that's going out. And it's not by choice. I want to send them more referrals. I do. I want to make it mutual, but it's not. And there's a reason why that is. There's a reason why Alberta is that hot topic right now, whether it's the affordability. Yes, there is definitely the cash flow. I mean, even someone in Calgary, Patrick, this is funny. This is a funny story. So a really good friend of mine in Calgary, he's a realtor. He's been doing it for 10 years. He wants to buy in Edmonton. I help a lot of realtors buy. And he's like, Calvin, I was told you can buy a condo in Edmonton for $150,000. And I'm like, yeah, you absolutely can. He had no idea. He's like, it blows my mind. I'm like, you can actually buy a condo in Edmonton for $50,000. And I think the cheapest I've ever seen was $38,000. Now, do I recommend that purchase? That's another conversation. Yeah. But there's definitely lots of affordable options, and cash flow is a thing. And one of the best things I love about Edmonton is the investor. We have more strategies. Just put it that way. It seems like we have more strategies because we've been stuck in a buyer's market for the longest time ever. It feels like we were stuck in a buyer's market that we could not escape. We were on this horizontal path that did not change trajectory for like a decade. Do you remember that? We were literally, we were so flat. It was like the ice you supply skates for in your other business. It's like, it was just flat as flat could be. And so we have to get creative with our real estate. And we do a lot of seller financing and, where you don't need a mortgage to purchase, like agreement for sale deals. And I'll talk about this on other platforms with other realtors, investment realtors in other provinces. And they're looking at me cross-eyed, not having an idea what I'm talking about. And it's interesting on how many things we come up with in some of these challenging markets. But now the market's fast paced, it's different, but it's really cool to show even families where they're like, Calvin, I can't get a mortgage. I have like $20,000 and I want to get into investment property. Where normally people would say, sorry, it's a roadblock. There's actually opportunities. And it's just about having that conversation. So it's not only just about like cash flow. It's not only about like the great benefits that we're seeing Alberta providing our, clients for relocation or investment. There's also a lot of creative strategies that we've learned to use here to be successful. It's like we've had this stress and we've had to evolve faster as investors to be able to make investment real estate work. So there's just so many layers to it. And as you can tell, I geek out about this stuff all the time. If you want to call me up and just have a conversation about real estate, I mean, I absolutely love it.
Well, the good news around Edmonton specifically is that, we see historically how it tends to lag behind Calgary. And what's starting to happen right now is Edmonton is actually starting to just now step into that part of the lag where it's actually starting to gain and get some momentum, and still has a long way to go. You have to be very specific in the property type you buy. You have to look at exactly where you're buying, why you're buying. And this is why the real estate conference is ideal for that situation. And for those of you who might be in Ontario hearing this and listening to this, or in British Columbia, Alberta is a strong economy and a strong real estate market for a reason. And, it's not that you come in and you just throw money up against the wall. And this is why you want to come to the conference. This is the time to network, to learn, to find out what's going on economically. I'm going to be talking about what is happening economically, not just in Alberta, but right across the country, and making decisions based on where the real estate market is going. Now, again, I go back to, we've got some headwinds economically that we're facing, nationally, globally. We've got, the threat of wars out there. Consumer confidence has dropped down. This is where the rubber meets the pavement, because it's counterintuitive. This is what scares people out of the market. This is not a bull market, if you will, in the world of real estate, not even in Alberta. And this is the time where it is counterintuitive because it is a little scary out there. The cycle in the real estate cycle is in a mode where people go, I'm out. Well, whether you're out or not, that's a decision. But ultimately, don't stop learning and educating yourself so that you're making the right decision based on what it is you're trying to achieve. And this conference is going to give you all of that. A great lineup of speakers, an opportunity to meet and build your team, an opportunity to learn and expand on what you understand of what's going on in Alberta, even beyond Edmonton. Calvin, I'm looking forward to it. I'll leave the last words for you. We need people. We want people to come to this conference because it is the opportunity to create a financial future investing in real estate the right way, learning from experts who've been there, have gone there, done that. I'll leave it to you.
In short, we wanted to create an event that allowed someone to feel FOMO if they didn't attend it. That is this event. We made ticket prices extremely affordable. We're covering the costs on the sponsorships so you can get and enter into leveling your investment journey up with clarity and confidence and not make price an issue. This is the conference of the year that you want to engage in. And I can almost promise you, if you do not show up, once you see reels and everything that's happening from it, you will have FOMO. And we're not going to have another one like it for another year. You want to make the trip.
Get this weekend booked and get there. Calvin, thanks for joining me. And hopefully we'll see a whole bunch of people at the conference coming up. Thanks, man.
Thank you.